boys and girls, it's Mrs. Duff. So every week I'm going to do just a small mini lesson with some vocabulary strategies or some word work strategies that you can use while you are reading and writing, because sometimes they might help you with spelling as well. So the strategy we're looking at today is recognize prefixes and root words. So some of you may already know what a prefix is, and that's great. But for those of you that don't, a prefix is a word part that is added to the beginning of a root or a base word, and it changes the meaning of that word. So before we go into the prefixes that we're going to talk about today, I just want to make a little distinction between what a root is and what a base word is. Because even I in the past have used them interchangeably, but they are two different things. So a base word, which is what most of our examples will have, is a word that can stand all on its own. It has its own meaning. It doesn't need a prefix or a suffix to make sense, such as happy or a lock, like if you were going to lock something up. A root word, however, is just a word part that has meaning but doesn't necessarily stand on its own. Like therm means heat, and chron means time or having to do with time. So a little distinction there, just because as we go through these lessons, we might be talking about root words a little bit more and seeing the different meanings behind those, because those can be really helpful when determining the meanings of unknown words, especially as words get longer and harder. And I know in our animal defense unit, there will be some more challenging words in your independent reading. So these strategies can be very helpful with that. So I'm going to go ahead and erase the board, and I'll get us zoomed in to take a look at our practice sheets. All right, so if we have a look at this first sheet, it begins by giving the definition, which we just discussed. Prefixes are added to the beginning of root or base words. When you add a prefix to a base word, you change the word's meaning. And below here, you see 6 prefixes that are bold. The first one we have is re, which means again or back. Un, which means not or opposite. Dis, which means not. Miss, which means wrong. Pre, which means before, and under, which means below. So those are the 6 prefixes that we are going to be focusing on this week. If you take a look below that box, there are some directions. They said draw a box around the prefix in each word. Underline the root word in each word. Okay, and I wish they had said base word there, but that's all right. So I'm going to look at the first word here, and it says return. Well, if I refer to that box at the top, I know that re is a prefix. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a box, and the word turn would be my base word. Now I'm going to think return. So if I think about my prefix meaning again or back, maybe return means to turn back. Next one we're going to look at is dishonest. I can recognize dis as one of the prefixes from up at the top of the page, so I'm going to put that in a box. And I know that honest is a base word that means to tell the truth. So if you're being dishonest, well, dis means not, so you're not being honest, you're not telling the truth. We'll do one more together. Well, we already did one with re. We'll take a look over here. Preschool. I know from my box above that pre is a prefix. That means before. And school is a base word. So preschool must mean before school. So what you're going to do to finish this page is to look through all of the words, put a box around the prefix, and underline the base word. Remember, it's a good idea to think through the word and how the prefix is changing the meaning of the base word that you've underlined. The second sheet says to write the correct word on the blank to complete each sentence. And somehow, I don't know, the directions kind of stopped there and it just says sen instead of sentence. But if we take a look at our word bank here, we have preheat, return, underwater, dishonest, misbehave, unwrap, unable, and untied. So you're going to think about the meaning of all those words and how that prefix impacts or changes the meaning of the base word. And you're going to try to fill in each sentence correctly. Number 1 says, Mom said I have to wait until my birthday to blank my presents. Well, I know for a birthday, usually your presents are covered in paper, so you'd have to unwrap them. I'm going to look at my word bank and carefully spell unwrap. Then I'll check my sentence. Mom said I have to wait until my birthday to unwrap my presents. Good. I know unwrap means the opposite of wrap, so you're taking it off. Okay, so you're going to look through the rest. There's only 8 sentences, and we just did one together, and fill in the correct word for each sentence. All right, boys and girls, that's all for this week. But I hope that you are keeping your eye out for prefixes in your reading every day. Bye.